you want to know your exit strategy, right? So if it's a big deal and you're going to want to take it down, right, buy it, line up your private money. If you're going to wholesale it, have your buyer ready to go and have them ready to fund, right? Or if you're going to get hard money, have this ready to go. Do not tempt fate. Be ready to close on the day. On the day you get clear title, be ready to close.
Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo.
How to find deals that nobody knows about with giant spreads. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and welcome to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If this is your first time listening to the show, or if you've been listening for a while, head on over to nextlevelwholesaling.com, and I have an awesome tool for you to download over there. It's called the Next Level Wholesaling Assessment. And whether you are getting started and you've done some deals or you're really looking to scale up, this tool will actually score you in the 4 core areas of your wholesaling business. And even if you're brand new, you'll get a lot of benefit from this because it'll actually point you to where you need to go. So go to nextlevelwholesaling.com and download the assessment. Now, there are 4 core areas in your business that you need to know about. There is marketing, there is acquisition, there is disposition, and accounting, right? And how much money you are making. So whenever you add that little, how much money you are making to accounting, all of a sudden accounting gets a lot more fun, right? We want to turn those big checks into a giant profit. So go to nextlevelwholesaling.com and download that assessment today. Once you take it, it'll become abundantly clear on what your very next step needs to be to start to grow your wholesaling business to that next level. So today's episode is hot off the press because it was inspired by a deal that we are working on right now. The cool part about this is that this deal is currently in process, but I've done dozens just like it. And the beauty of this deal is that there is absolutely zero competition. None of the other local people in my town or territories where we do business have an interest on this because maybe they've talked to the seller and they just kind of put their hands up and they don't know what to do. But because you are a pro, right? This is your profession, you're hyper-focused, and you're listening to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast, you're going to know what to do and do one of these deals also. So do me a favor, by the way, if you do one of these deals, hit me up on Instagram at Todd Toback, or you can always send an email to support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. If you want to partner with us on a deal like this in our local areas, which right now is San Diego and in the Treasure Coast of Florida, and that is rapidly expanding, then please send an email, support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. We love to do big deals with all of our students. All right, so this deal that we have right now actually came to us through a normal SMS campaign, right? So this technique of marketing, there's nothing secret about this technique, right? Everyone's talking about SMS texting people. So it came from a list that we pulled and we went and marketed to the seller and they said, yes, I'm interested in selling, but I have title and probate issues. Now, this is interesting. So the acquisition specialist doesn't get caught up in all that. They ask all the questions and say, if I could handle this for you, right? This is the exact conversation we've trained. And you didn't have to deal with any of the legal stuff and you didn't have to come up with any money up front, right? If I could do X, would you sell to us for, right, $200,000? Now, $200,000 is a price on this deal that if we get it at that price, all inclusive of the fees and all that other stuff, we're going to make about $70,000, right? And to me, it's almost a 6-figure deal. So we're going to actually invest in this deal. And she says, yes, but how am I going to handle the title issues and the probate? Now, let's stop for a second. Most investors, most people who call, most agents, most realtors, what they say to a seller is, okay, you got to handle all of that, right? And then call me. That's what happens, right? And so all of a sudden the deal is frozen. Everybody gives up. The seller now is programmed to think that they have to go to an attorney, handle all the title problems, come out of pocket for all the legal stuff, right? And they can't handle anything to do with that. It becomes completely overwhelming. Deal done. But not you, not today. So long story short, we meet with the seller. We get the deal under contract and it says we're going to buy this thing for $200,000 and we're going to pay for all the legal fees to get the probate done, all the title issues, and make that happen. And the seller is not going to have to come out of pocket up front. Now, very important, you could do this one of two ways. If you've got a great relationship with an attorney, you could just quote them a flat price and you will handle the probate. Or you could say you can pay for it on the back end, meaning that you won't have to pay at the back. My attorney will bill you at the end. Now, for me, I prefer to give the seller just one all-inclusive price. Okay, so for me, the deal is going to be that the seller is going to net $200,000. Okay, and I think that I could sell it for $270,000, maybe $280,000, and it's going to cost me about $5,000 in attorney fees. This is an ugly one. Now you may say, Todd, why would I risk $5,000? Okay, well, remember, you have to go right through the obstacle because most people are not going to deal with this. So we've developed relationships with local attorneys in our markets. And our relationship is that they will handle all the probate, all the title work, all the legal stuff for us, okay, on a success fee / deferred fee basis, meaning that I do not need to pay for the majority of this upfront, and I only need to pay if the deal succeeds. Now, if I've got a bunch of these that don't succeed for whatever reason, and by the way, I have actually never had one of these not succeed. Okay, could it happen? Yes. Okay, but if whatever, I could roll their fees into the next deal that we did. But I've had a conversation, we have the relationship. Now this is in the hands of our attorney. They're handling the probate, they're filing it with the paperwork. We've got an agreement with the seller with absolutely no competition. In about 60 days, we will have clear title. We'll be able to close and we'll wholesale this thing between $70,000 and $80,000 minus $5,000 for our legal fees, which we did not have to pay up front. Okay. Now our attorney asked us to pay the filing fees, which is going to be about $500. You don't even have to do that. Some attorneys will cover that upfront and charge you on the back end. You can also offer your attorney to actually bill you a premium, right? If it's only on success fee, say I'll pay you 120% of your normal rate, right? Now, here's a little trick. If you don't ask, you won't get. Now, I've literally done dozens of these deals. I bought a house in Victorville, California for $10,000 and I sold it. I think I've talked about it on this podcast a bunch of times. I've sold that thing, I think for 90 and I made 80 grand on a house that I bought for 10, only worth $100,000 because I did this very exact maneuver. Okay. The beauty of this technique again is that most people give up. They don't want to lay out the money or they don't know that they can get an attorney to lay out the work up front. The truth is most attorneys do this anyway, right? They do the legal work and then they bill the clients 30, 60, 90 days later. So they're really not doing anything that they're not already used to doing. Okay. But long story short, that's how we did it. Now I'm going to reiterate step by step on how you can do this. All right. You can absolutely do this in your market. The other wholesalers are not doing this, but you're a pro. So step one, okay, is where are you going to find these deals? Okay, number one is that I can tell you, I wish I had some magic formula for targeting these, but they pop up during the normal course of our marketing. But some common themes are deals that have code violations, right? Because many people have neglected the property or deals with quick claim deeds. So you can try targeting those, but we see these a lot during our marketing, just like this deal we caught during a texting campaign. But again, if you target quick claim deeds and code violations, you're going to run into some of these. Also tax defaults. Okay. Now, you may say, Todd, why wouldn't I just target probate properties? Very, very, very good question. The reason why you're not going to target probate properties is that that list is actually people who have filed, right, started a court case for probate, which means that they're comfortable working with their attorney and they're writing the check, or they've already negotiated agreement with an attorney, right? So those probate deals actually are not good candidates, right? You're looking for people who are overwhelmed with the process and they need guidance, they need your negotiation skills, and they need your energy to push the deal through. So probate deals are not a bad source of deals. It's just they're not a good source of these deals that I'm talking about right now. Okay, next thing, don't overanalyze this. Once you've got a seller that is on the line who likes the deal, meet with them and put it under contract. Now, do they have the legal right to go under contract with you? Well, the piece of paper is going to be an agreement between the two of you, right? If the seller wants out for whatever reason, could they get out of it? Maybe, sure, right? But I've, again, have not had one of these ever fall apart because number one, I'm bringing so much value, right? Number two is that the attorney that I've picked out is actually handling the process. So I know exactly what's going on. Very, very, very important. Okay. Now, number three, you've got to negotiate how the fees are going to be paid. I prefer giving the seller certainty and giving them one all-inclusive price. So I will give you X amount, assuming that there's no other liens that we don't know about, right? And I will cover the attorney's fees in this deal. So they know exactly what they're going to get unless something pops up that they didn't tell me out. Very, very important. Now, once the title clears, right, I'm going to have probably 30 or 60 days during this time while I'm getting the probate done. Could be longer, could be shorter. I've had some done in a week. Is you want to know your exit strategy, right? So if it's a big deal and you're going to want to take it down, right, buy it, line up your private money. If you're going to wholesale it, have your buyer ready to go and have them ready to fund, right? Or if you're going to get hard money, have this ready to go. Do not tempt fate. Be ready to close on the day. On the day you get clear title, be ready to close. That is very, very, very important, right? You've solved a big problem for the seller. Don't give them 3 weeks where you've solved it, where you have not given them money. Very, very important. So have that all lined up, get the title clear and close immediately. Very, very, very important. Okay. Now, I forgot to mention, going back to this, before you do this, as soon as you get a deal like this where you've got a lead, you can even start today, line up your attorney, okay, and call your attorney and say, hey, will you bill me, number one, on success if this is successful, and then number two, deferred at the end of the deal. Now, plenty will say no. I guarantee you one will say yes, right? If you don't ask for terms, you won't get it. If you've got a phenomenal attorney who'll handle all of this, tell him you'll give him 125% of his normal rate. You don't have to do that, or her normal rate, right? You don't have to do that, but you can, right? Make them part of the deal and entrepreneurial and get them real excited. Just don't overpay, right? What I mean by overpay is 20% is fine, right? Don't get double rates because you can do this. I absolutely love these deals. Whenever I run into a deal that has not gone through probate and other people have just walked away from, we go for giant spreads and you can do it too. I can tell you that big spreads are where it's at. If you want to learn how to negotiate larger spreads, check out the No Limit Sales System. I talk a lot about it on this podcast, but if you want an organized step-by-step system that I've trained my acquisition specialist with, and thousands of investors across the country, the best investors, go to nolimitssalessystem.com to get some free videos, or you can listen to this podcast. If you're totally broke and aren't willing to invest, that's fine too. Or if you want to buy it right now without getting the free videos, go to nolimitssalessystem.com/backdoor. Remember also that if you've loved the topic of today's episode, share this with your team, copy and paste the link to the show and text it to 3 or more people who you think need to hear it. I love your reviews on iTunes, so please continue to leave those. And otherwise, I will talk to you on the next episode of the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast.